Yeah, this is a new job today. We ain't really filmed any of this, but we have started in there. But obviously we're just mixing some sand and cement to put some blocks up. We're blocking up 2 doorways. How many is that, Aidan? Is that 3?
One more. Yeah, one more.
So basically on this one we're just blocking up 2 doorways, and then we're going to render them up because it was already sort of, well, they've hard walled it, but obviously I'm going to render it because I like rendering. You got a knife on you? No. Let's go and get a knife. Let's go and have a look in here. Let's go and show them what we're doing. We're just mixing up that. Basically blocking up 2 doors. Let me go and turn that radio off for a minute. So here's one. We're taking the door frame out, put the profiles in. We'll block that up and render that. Same here. Block it up. I am taking the cardine up so we can lay onto the solid floor. And we'll render either side of that, and then we'll basically skim both sides of the wall all the way through, so then there ain't no patching, so the customer is basically getting a nice job rather than half a job. So that's what we come for. I wanted a knife. I'll show you. Well, I ain't going to be blading because Aidan's done, I'll say Aidan, it's Finley. Finley has done a bricklaying course. And that's going to be Finley doing that. I mean, I ain't no bricklayer or builder. I can do general building stuff. But yeah, this is us mixing it up right now. We'll probably add a camera rolling in there when we are laying, so then we can show you a bit of that. But yeah, nice 4-in-1 mix. A little bit of feb in there, haven't we?
Yep.
Bit of sand, cement, and yeah, happy days. I'll show you it when we're blocking up. I'll record Finley doing it so you can see him. I mean, we won't judge because he's obviously still young, and it's not nice to judge people unless you're judging them in a nice way. Right, we'll leave it there. Right, basically now it's going to start blocking this doorway up. I'm just filming Finley doing his beds. Blocks there. I mean, you could have probably put some stud work in and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's better to do it with the masonry because then it follows what's there. That's that one blocked up. We do have one more to do now. Like, there is plenty of ways you can do it. You could sit there and say, oh, we could put stud work in. I mean, yes, it's quicker, but like, so I said to the customer, we want it so it's solid. So there's obviously hard wall on here already. I'll just render this up tomorrow and like basically reskin the whole wall both sides. Because like at the same time we want to put back what's there, so we're matching what's here, because everything's masonry, so when you're knocking on the wall you don't want to hear a hollow sound. While we're here we'll be taking this bit off because that's blown, and we will be rendering that back up, so again we'll skim across. Obviously people can turn around. Finley's 20 years old at the end of the day. I mean, at the minute I won't have any comments because I'm obviously just starting the channel, but you know, for 20 years old and doing this is good. So people, before they comment or say anything, oh, that's this and that, because sometimes you get negativity. I mean, in my opinion, that's good. I mean, 20 years old doing that. What are most 20-year-olds doing this day and age? Not a lot. They don't even work. So, yeah, that's that. Tomorrow, like I said, will be my bit. I will render up. And the day after that, we'll skim it. Because obviously, you can't plaster onto wet render. But that's that one. We'll show you a little bit on the next one. Yeah, I mean, tell me how you'd do it in the comment section. What would you do? Would you put a stud work in or would you block it up? It's up to the customer. I give the customer the choice. And we both agreed that masonry was better. So again, how would you do it? Let me know in the comments. So I've exposed this, look, and obviously it was blown, it's hardwall like I said. That ain't really what you call a key. You can turn around and say that it is, but we all know, don't know how to do it in two. It's not really thick enough to warrant trying to do it in two and then give it that sort of key. But yeah, I've exposed that now and I understand why it's blown, because it was never keyed to it in the first place. You can't, you know, we normally use a scarifier or a scratcher to gain a good key if you was going to do it in two passes. Me personally, it's not thick enough to even warrant two passes in the first place. I mean, look, it's sat, you know, past the door frame anyway, so that is the reason to why it blew. So I'll get all this off, I'll SBR it tomorrow, and when I render that up, we will render this too. But this is this one over here. Ain't far off done now. Just putting the cuts in the top, bit of pointing, again, render that up both sides and skim both sides the following day, but that's where we're at today. Alright, so yeah, today we are now going to do the sand and cementing. Like I said, this is the age of 1971 this was built, so my guess would be that browning, I would say, not hardwall, but like I said, because it's all masonry, and put this back on, roll it up, float it up, ready for skimming tomorrow. Same with the other doors, there's obviously this side, that one out there. Basically, yeah, that's what's on render on basically. We've got 4-in-1 mix, we put a bit of waterproof in it, a bit of lime. We like a bit of rendering. I mean, you get the generations that say, you know, proper plastering, whatever, in the day. Line plaster render, it's where it all begun, I suppose. It's just nowadays we do have modern products, we like center plasterboard and use some of the digital products. I mean, everything's timber frame for one. Obviously it's broken up on site. I mean, I won't call site lads because then they're earning some money and paying the bills, so we won't knock them, everyone's just out doing a bit. But gotta like a bit of rendering. I'm sure there's plenty of lads out there too that would agree with me. They prefer rendering, dot and dabbing and things like that. It's just, for me personally, I just like using sand and cement. I don't mind balling, I mean, don't know, it's a lot easier. But just a bit more skill involved with the sand and cement. And it is nice to skim over. See, with it, you can have it. If you mess about a bit too much, it does always sort of fall off on you and that. And actually, just got to get it on, get it as flat as possible. If you're right-handed, you start left. If you're left-handed, you start right. So you're working it onto itself. It's not like skimming. It is different. It is a bit harder to use. I mean, let me know in the comments basically what you think. What do you prefer? Rendering, boarding, nothing at all. Each to their own. As you can see, it goes gear everywhere. Again, you are gonna make mess. It's how we leave it at the end, which is what matters. To the state of how you leave the job. We want to leave it nice and clean and basically look like we've never been in there. I've obviously exposed this. I think I said this earlier in the video. We had a bit of blown, I'll call it browning, where it has bacteria. I'm sure I've showed it in the video. But this is pretty new to me. Thermalite cracking. This is what this is called. So if you come over here with a camera, rather than standing over there, and then we can sort of show. So we've had an engineer out, and the engineer's told me to basically stop bead this like this. About 20mm depth. We've ran a grinder down the crack all the way down there because it was coming. It did zigzag a little bit, but I've kept these beads half and half on the crack. So basically we now have to hardball back up to this and keep that line exposed. And what he was saying is if I rake it out and point it up, it will just keep moving. I'm not an engineer, I don't know this stuff. I'm a plasterer, that's why we've got an engineer. But thermalite cracking is new to me. I've not really heard of it before, but that's what we're doing here. We're going to hardball this back up, put this back together and skim it in and leave that so we keep that joint there. So obviously I don't fill that joint, I just plaster render up to this and then skim up to this and then keep it raked out. I mean, it'd be cool to hear all the comments and things, what people, if you come across it. I haven't come across it in my time, I've never heard of thermalite cracking, but I have today, and we had an engineer explain it, and this is what he's told me to do, so that's what I'm doing. Right, let's get ready on this. Just need to get that feed back a little bit over there. You know, and we're good, but we've got this door frame here, so we can't come past things. You've got the skirting that needs to flow back through it, so it's an odd way of doing it, but this is what I'm doing because this is what he said to do. It's not an odd way, I shouldn't say odd, it's just what we've been told to do, so that's what we're doing. Nice thermalite block, look, so we can get a nice nail in there. Let's have a look at this, put some hardball in and see what it looks like at the end. Day 3, we'll start plastering today. We've worked out, like, obviously you don't want to sound stupid, but you put a grey tub in, it's like a grey water tub in. It tends to get me a perfect size mix for a set. Putting one of them on in a set, you know, it gets you a good amount depending on what surface we're going over. The walls are pretty decent in there, so we'll put that on, we'll mix that up. I like board finish, to be honest. Doesn't matter too much, but I do prefer it. I think it goes off quicker, it trails up better. I mean, some will argue and some will say different, but yeah, we'll get this mixed up. You know, tends to be perfect for me, this. I mean, to me, I know from experience, you probably want some amp doing, but when you've been doing it for years, you sort of, you know, where it is speed, the amount of water, and what consistency you want it. Some lads like it thick. I like it to see you can spread it like this, it's not harsh on the old wrist and the shoulder. And obviously on the first coat we tend to have it a little bit thicker. for a youngster who's learning, because then, you know, we just like clean tools, look after the stuff. So that's now ready to spread over the walls. I know next time it'll be just about half of that sort of thing, and then we'll get the perfect mix to lay in. We'll stop the we're rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm quite messy at times, and there's a messy tray, but it's good to prime the handboard, try and stop it falling off. I'm gonna put this wall on that wall, and then there's a bit behind there. That SPR is a little bit wet, but I'd rather play it safe. I didn't want it. It went a bit grey, so I'll give it the coat just to make sure it's not pulling in and misbehaving. I know people in the comments or whatever will go, "Man, you need to let it set, you need to do this." Sometimes you've got to get on. It's not going to do it no harm. Second set, didn't really record this because I've got to fetch my van in a bit. It's been in the garage for a bit. I've had a courtesy one for a bit. It's doing me head in. I want my own van back because it's set up for me to work out of, obviously. But we could have probably patched this in and that, and yeah, it's not wrong or right, but I think it's just better to go all the way across the wall up there. You know what? It won't take me that much longer at the end of the day, and it'll look better. Customer will be happy with that, in my opinion. Hold on, let's turn this bloody racket off for a minute.
Material impact on the steps we took to contain the outbreak.
The East Kent Trust didn't immediately inform the UK Health Security Agency about it.
No, it's not my radio, that's why I'm trying to work it. But yeah. Obviously our first set, still got a quick flash over this. But it's looking nice now. This is, again, this is for that stupid thermalite cracking. Again, engineer said it, never heard of it in my life. I know thermalite blocks are shite, but yeah, that's in there for that reason. What he said to do basically. I'm not going to argue with him because I'm not an expert, but that's that. Got this on in here too. I will record myself laying it in. Again, I could have patched up, but we didn't. We've chose to plaster it across because it just does a nicer job, like I said. And I can patch up, so there's me patching in. Anyone who, you know, I'm not a massive fan of it myself, to be honest, but at the end of the day, I can blend in and you won't tell that that's there. The radiator's there anyway, so it doesn't matter, but that's that. But the other day, the customer rang me just before I come. Joiner had a bit of an accident and said, will I sort this out? What will I charge her? So I just said, don't worry about it, I'll do it for you, I'll fix it while I'm there. I mean, some people will charge, but it's not always good to be taking, like robbing people, I suppose, not robbing them, whatever. Sometimes it's good to be nice and do things for nothing because there's not a lot of people like that in this world no more. But yeah, we will flick over that in a bit, give it its proper polish. And then I'll show you me laying it in. And then also we will clean up and show you the finished product and how we leave it, because again, it's important. I mean, get this in here, but this was built in 1970. Get that line there, because that's nothing to do with me. That I didn't take it off because it was like, if you can see that up there, I mean, it dips in. It ain't very good. Now this was done in browning. I mean, obviously whoever did it can't work a straight edge, and it's the same up there. The lines and that are terrible. I mean, it's difficult to get it in, but the ceiling dives up and down, and you know, not impressed considering, you know, these generation, I shouldn't really call it, and I'm not, well I am going to say it, this generation of plasterers that are supposed to know everything and be good at everything. I mean, I was taught by that generation, to be fair, but I'm not impressed with it. I mean, where I've rendered up here, it's not diving in and that, and yes, it's easy to rule off wall to wall, but yeah, enough rambling. Let's get it laid in. Right, second coat now. Yeah, we'll get this on. In our local area, to just see this, so you know what you're getting, rather than just someone who you don't know walking into your home. At least with this, you know, like basically you can see what you're getting before I come into your home, and see how we work. You know, just for peace of mind. You know, it just gives you that opportunity to sort of check me out before you actually go with me, because obviously I'm going to keep tagging myself in the local groups, and I know a lot of people mention me, and obviously there's a lot of people in the town that, like everywhere, there is cowboys out there, and there's people that shouldn't be doing it, and I want to eliminate that. I want people to get a nice job. I want you to feel like when you're spending your money, you're getting a good service, rather than, you know, handing over some of your money to someone who sits there and basically fills you with a load of nonsense and takes your money from you, because there's a lot of that this day and age. You know, we can all have a fancy website, we can all have a business page on Facebook, but I can tell you now, from looking at some of the people in the town and knowing who they are and what they're about, they shouldn't have certain things on their website. I know for a fact that some of them have lime plastering on or lime rendering, and they can't even plaster, let alone lime render. You know, it's not that someone who is a skimmer is a bad person, but you know, the lime rendering and the rendering itself is the top end of the plastics. The more, it takes a little bit more skill, because it's one of them things that it takes years and years of doing it and knowing how to do it and when to do it and how to roll it up and what you're doing. You know, it's so easy nowadays to set up a page and business and just go out there and get your friends to review your work. Whereas with what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show people who I am and what I'm doing and how you do it, basically. I mean, I'm not saying that my way is the right way, but at least with the internet and social media nowadays, you can sort of critique anyone. And if you can see me, I'm open to criticism, basically. You know, we're in a very pretty decent home, fair to say here. It's a lovely place. It's not your average council house that we're working on. Not that there's anything against it, because I live in a council house. So do not be offended by that, anyone. I mean, we're in an era where my rip on my t-shirt could probably offend someone. As daft as that may sound, people go, oh look, he's got a ripped t-shirt. You know, I'm just getting that people get offended too easily nowadays, and I'm not trying to offend, I'm just saying this is not your average council house, basically. I think the customer said to me she paid 800 grand for this, and that's why it was a bit worrying coming across that track. I completely understand. When you're spending that type of money on a property, you do not want to see cracks and things, which is why I said get an engineer out and get their advice, because I'm just a plasterer at the end of the day. And then when we had peace of mind and his professional advice, we did what we did round the corner with the 2 stop beads. He said basically to put the 2 stop beads side by side, don't try and fill the crack with anything stronger, because all you'll end up doing is pushing the crack along more. I understood what he wanted me to do, so he said then put the beads into the render so the crack sort of stays where it is, and you manage it rather than trying to hide it and cover it up. Because that's all people can do. They'll come in, say they can do a job or do the job, and basically just keep the problem there and hide it. It says it on the website, it says it on a page. I don't just find the problem and fix the problem before we move forward. You know, it's always about finding what's causing the problem and fixing that, rather than just covering it up and saying I've done the job, taking your money and moving on out of there. It's too easy to do that. It's too easy to be fooled. How long's that now, Aidan?
About 5 minutes.
Yeah, that'll do. Yep. Right, so that's it, plastering done. Obviously we took the door frames out, we popped the skirting off, we blocked it up, we rendered it, we skimmed it, so that's that wall. Obviously the same over here. We fixed the bottom bit of render, patched that up, skimmed it, same here, door frame out, blocked up, rendered, skimmed, both sides, just through here too. Other side, no patching from one side to the other. We don't like a patch, that's why we're skimming our wall. That's that bit. Hot skirting off as well in here. Again, we patched this bit to here because obviously we didn't want to take the TV off and cause too much inconvenience. And then just this little bit here was the joiner had a little boo-boo, so we pulled that in and fixed that for nothing. But yeah, architrave will go back on around there and you won't see it, so because the customer was lovely, we did that for nothing. But yeah, obviously that's it from start to finish now. You've seen the process, how it works, or what we do, how we've done it basically. Just have to get the video put together now as one and link it together and get it out there tonight. So yeah, comment away, whatever you want to do, like and get involved.